Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
John Baisley, First Ward.
Joe Conti, Third Ward.
Michael Safone, Fourth Ward.
Joseph Lepore, Fifth Ward.
Ann Church in Sixth Ward.
Todd Tancredi, Supervisor.
Alicia Salvatore, Town Clerk.
Jim Nelson, Attorney for the Town.
Okay, we have one public hearing on our agenda tonight, and that's to amend a few of our fees in relation to our parks and recreation that we offer residents. So I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing number 1.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here to speak to this public hearing? Any questions from the town board? Tom Maring's here tonight, our Parks and Recreation Director. All right, so no one to make a motion to close public hearing number 1?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Jay?
Be enacted, the Town Board of Town Poughkeepsie, pursuant to a public hearing held on the second day of March 2016, 7 p.m., Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, does hereby amend Town Code, Chapter 105, entitled Fees, specifically Chapter 105-4M, entitled Chapter 148, Parks and Recreation. And be it further enacted that the proposed amendment is attached hereto and incorporated herein, and the Town Board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of said amendments and does direct that said amendment be spread across the record as if they, in fact, had been read verbatim. Be it further enacted, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie has determined this action is a Type 2 action requiring no environmental review. Be it further enacted, the legal notice of public hearing was posted on February 18, 2016, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on February 23, 2016. Be it further enacted, said local law shall take effective immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those.
Well, actually, I was just going to say, even though our rates have gone up somewhat, actually, compared to the area, we actually are still on the lower side. I know a pavilion in the village of Wappinger Falls is 125, and our picnic pavilions are 100. So we really are on the lower side, and I do believe we still have the lowest and least expensive daycare program in the area.
Yeah, and things like the summer camp program, those fees are adjusted to meet our expenses. So, that program's meant to be as close to break even as possible so that the residents who aren't using it aren't paying for it. And as is the case with many of our camps and swim program and things like that through our recreation department. So many of these fees have been adjusted to cover the expenses. And then, as Ann said, some of the others have been adjusted just to help meet, inflation and cost, but we're still very reasonable compared to those around us. Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. That brings us to the end of our public hearings. We have a short agenda tonight, but I'm going to run through the agenda items, and then we'll take questions on agenda items. Agenda item number 2 is to authorize the clerk to advertise for our RFQs for the Meadowview project. 3 is to approve the permanent appointment of our police chief. 4 is to appoint Thomas Comerford as part-time network specialist in the police department. 5 is to appoint Rocco Cordado as temporary part-time, again in the same capacity, working with the computers over at Town Hall, or the department. 6 is to authorize the supervisor to sign Worldwide Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month. That would be in April. 7 is to award our mowing contracts this year. We bid out our town parks mowing every few years. It was up again this year, so we had the bid opening last week. We have a low bidder. We've checked references, and we're ready to award that contract. 8 is to set a public hearing day for Town Code Amendments, Chapter 126, Historic Preservation Commission. And then we have 2 special consents, actually 2 retirements. One is Darlene DePerno from our water department, and the other retirement is our controller, who has decided to retire, James Wadowitz. So I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for public comment on agenda items.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone here to address the board? Doreen?
question about agenda item number 8 for the Historic Preservation Commission. So for the Town's Historic Preservation Commission, they're what's known as a certified local government. And I see you're making changes to the membership. And so this is to be a certified local government, there's certain standards. It's a federal program and the state administers it. And they have professional qualification standards.
Okay.
And so I was wondering if these changes to the membership qualifications need to be approved by the state. And, when you're a certified local government, it allows you to get certified local government grants.
Okay.
And so, again, I didn't know if this was run through the state or if it needed to be.
Do you know, Mr. Nelson?
And I'm going to check on it.
Okay.
Actually, we had in-service meeting with the people from, and these followed the new guidelines that came down from SHPO. So I know that John Pinna, our town historian, took the new guidelines from SHPO, and now our membership is more in line with what the state has been recommending.
Okay, thank you. I had not spoken to Ms. Shershin. I had spoken to Mr. Penna, and I had not asked that particular question, but we'll talk afterwards. And
Okay,
I'm
because,
sure
yeah,
this is fine.
I did look online, and they did have some guidelines for qualifications, and I just didn't know if that was in accordance. And then my other question is about agenda item number 2, the request for qualifications for Mr. Kirchhoff's Meadowview project. And I know the town has, as far as I know, at least in the last 15 years, never done an RFQ. Usually when there's an environmental impact statement prepared, it's prepared by the applicant and the town reviews it, and I've never seen this. So hopefully you'll be explaining this when you come to this agenda item.
Yes, we will.
Okay, thank you.
Doreen, anyone else? Mr. Armstrong?
Just a quick thing, number, 7, about the mowing. Is that strictly for the town's property mowing, or does that
Yes.
include the derelict houses and?
No, this is just the town.
Strictly for the town property side?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? All right, seeing no one, I make a motion to resume the rules.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Joe, number 2.
Whereas the planning board of the town of Poughkeepsie has received an application from Kirchhoff Companies for site plan review and approval of a project known as McDonald Heights Town Center. And whereas in order to fulfill its obligations to conduct an environmental review of said project pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act seeker, the planning board anticipates that an environmental impact statement will be prepared. And whereas the planning board has received a written request from Kirchhoff Companies that the planning board, once it is established as a lead agency, undertake the preparation of the EIS. And where such procedure is an authorization under 6 NYC RR 617-9A1 of the seeker regulations. And whereas the cost of preparing the EIS and reviewing the application would be borne solely by Kirchhoff Companies pursuant to 6 NYC RR 617-13 of the seeker regulations and Chapter 106 of the Town Code with no expenditure of town funds. And whereas the planning board anticipates the need to retain the services of a qualified firm for the purposes of preparing the EIS for the project. And whereas it is in the practice of the town board to retain consulting and legal services on behalf of the various boards, agencies, and departments of the town, now therefore be it resolved, the Director of Municipal Development is hereby directed to prepare a request for qualifications, RFQ, for the purposes of identifying firms qualified to prepare the EIS for the lead agency, and be it further resolved that the town clerk is authorized to issue and to publish the RFQ in a manner likely to obtain the broadest response from potentially qualified firms, including, but not limited to, publication in the Poughkeepsie Journal, and be it further resolved that the selection of a firm to perform the work described herein would be subject to a recommendation from the planning board after review of the qualifications of the responding firms, and including a contract for consulting services that would be approved by the town board at a later date. So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Director of Municipal Development is here tonight. I've asked Neil to, this is, Doreen is correct, we haven't done this in the past. This is kind of a new way to handle this particular procedure, but I'm going to have Neil explain what we're doing and kind of why we're doing it and our, hope for the outcome and the reasons we're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Neil Wilson, Director of Municipal Development. This is actually a procedure that's been in the seeker regulations for decades. It is not the usual process that is followed. The usual process, frankly, is kind of adversarial in the sense that you have the applicant prepare an EIS. We hire our consultants to review it, and it's, kind of this back and forth and very tedious, time-consuming, costly. This is what you're looking at is basically a request by Kirchhoff to have the town retain a firm for the purpose of preparing the EIS. So in this sense, the planning board is very much in the driver's seat. And I like the idea of being able to sort of direct and be on top of the preparation of the EIS and the issues to be addressed. Kirchhoff has actually submitted a written request for the town to undertake this process. In all my years as a seeker practitioner, going back to 1979, this is the first time that I've been part of a process where the planning board is in the position of being able to direct the EIS. So I'm kind of excited about that. I think it takes it at least eliminates one potential consultant from the process, in that the usual has been, he hires his guys, we hire our guys to review the EIS once he submits it. And in this case, the planning board would retain, the town board would retain a firm on behalf of the planning board for this purpose. So this is a resolution to authorize the issuance of the RFQ. There will be an interview process and a recommendation coming back from the planning board as to their recommendation as to who to hire.
Explain, what, I don't know if I missed it in what you just said, but our hope in doing it this way is to eliminate and to make the process more streamlined, eliminate
That very
not
much
only
so,
costs
very much
on
so.
both ends, but to eliminate time, waste of time, and to really, government talks a lot about, and you hear her talk, but sometimes unfortunately not enough action about, streamlining the process is making, the process of working your way through government when you're before it. In this case, it's a developer, but streamlining that process. And that's really what we're trying to do here is to, get to this end, have the same, if not more input in the process, but try to get there quicker, which just saves everybody, the residents and the developer.
That is exactly the point. Among the other advantages of doing it this way is that the planning board is very much in the process, or the sort of the driver's seat, if you will, in terms of the environmental review process. Historically, when the applicant receives the POS deck, there's a scoping document. We've gone through this, and we're in the process of this with the Hudson Heritage Project.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the EIS. We don't know what the outcome of their environmental review is. And so, it kind of gets dumped on our desk. We get a 45-day period in which to declare it either complete or incomplete. And it just kind of tends to be adversarial. My hope is that through this process, which Kirchhoff Companies has agreed to participate, we sort of take some of that off the table. Their engineers will feed into the company, the firm hired to prepare the EIS. What we're going to be looking for is a firm that has all of the disciplines in-house. In other words, this would not be an opportunity for a small firm, planning firm, to sort of create a joint venture, to have the archaeologist and the flora fauna guys and all of that to kind of come in as individual consultants. We're looking for a large firm that has those disciplines in-house, and to be able to create the EIS based on the information that would be fed into the EIS through the developer's engineering firm in consultation with our town engineer.
Do you anticipate the planning board having to have a lot of special meetings in order to absorb this information?
It may come around.
This-
Yeah.
well,
I don't anticipate.
I don't know what Mike
a lot.
means. Absorb what information?
I'll explain it.
Okay.
If you're getting all this information, you're not going to do it in a one meeting a month.
Oh, God,
They
no,
need to
no.
be together on the same page, and I would hate to have them all getting it without having a chance, to opportunity to talk to
But-
everybody.
How-
So I have no problems with
Mike, I'm not arguing with you.
No,
I'm just
saying,
trying to
I get it.
explain something.
Well, I'm asking Neil a question.
Yeah, I would
don't think you
anticipate
understand.
that there will be more than one discussion item on the planning board's regular agenda as the EIS is developed. This would certainly not be a case where the EIS is developed and we have one meeting and, and then the public hearing is closed.
But-
That, I do not anticipate that happening.
Right, but what we're not gonna do, this that we're approving tonight isn't gonna be before the RFQ isn't gonna be a public decision that the planners are making in a public meeting.
No.
That's the only thing I want you to
No.
understand.
No, this is the resolution is about the RFQ, putting it out there and letting notifying the qualified firms, of which there are any number, an interview process, of which the chairman of the planning board, the supervisor, would be a part of, and then a recommendation coming back to the town board, hopefully within the next month.
And other than that, the process that Kirchhoff's gonna go through before the planning board really isn't any different than
Right.
what normally happens.
Exactly. What I do anticipate is that there would be, as the EIS is developed, and given the size and scope of the project, that there will be discussions about the project, about the EIS, over the
Where I was
ensuing
going with that,
months.
because I know if they have to have special meetings, it's on Kirchhoff's dime to get the group together.
Yeah, I'm not anticipating special meetings. It could happen. I think that we can probably accomplish what we need to in the course of the regular planning board meetings.
Thank you.
Anything else? Doreen, did that answer any questions you had about this?
At this point, yes.
All right, thanks, Neil. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Anything else from the town board? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Mike, number 3.
Whereas Ronald Spiro Jr., by Resolution 520, Number 2 of 2015, was granted a provisional appointment to the position of Chief of Police, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie, is hereby appoint Ronald Spiro Jr. as permanent Chief of Police pursuant to Civil Service Law 52, Subject 7, subject to a probationary period of not less than 8 nor more than 26 weeks per Civil Service Law, commencing with the date of the adoption of this resolution. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion?
Congratulations again.
When we first appointed the chief, we appointed him provisionally, which basically meant we had to ask for a test for chief, and then he'd study and take the test, which he was on the list previously. Some years back, that list expired. We put the request forward, the list came out, and only 2 people applied for the test. So through civil service law, that gives us the ability to pull that requirement for a test back, to appoint them permanently if we choose to. My feeling is we have a chief of police to run the police department, which is an extremely important position. We pay him to do that, and I'd prefer not to have him studying for a test, particularly since he's taken it in the past, done very well, and passed. So that's my thinking on it, and wondered if you agree.
Got a lot of positive feedback from his guys under him, very happy with his effort, so I totally support him as well.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Ron.
Oh, we got to vote on it.
Congratulations again, Ron. We have
Yeah,
a
we gotta
motion and a
vote.
second. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Resolution number 4, be resolved that the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie, does hereby approve the permanent part-time employment of Thomas P. Comfort, effective March 7, 2016, as a network specialist for the Town of Poughkeepsie Police Department, for up 20 hours per week at the grade of 10, Step 1, currently $28.21 per hour, subject to a probationary period, or no less than 8 hours, or no more than 26 weeks per civil service law. And be further resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to execute and file all documentation required by the Dutchess County Department of Human Resources in connection with this appointment. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby approve the temporary part-time employment of retired detective Rocco Cordero to no more than 80 hours in total from March 7th, 2016 through April 1st, 2016 at an hourly rate of $30 for the purpose of assisting in the transition of Thomas P. Comfortford into the position of network specialist with the Town of Poughkeepsie Police Department. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Both of these positions, we have a software system over at the PD that really runs the whole show over there that we're going to have a need to update and get a brand new system. And you'll be hearing more about that in the future. But in the meantime, you know, we've had some retirements and these two gentlemen will help. Mr. Kohler, who, you know, we brought on a few weeks ago, he actually just changed his title. To help run the computer system, everything from lights to telephones to door locks to the, you know, system that's in the cars. And Rocco's has some hands-on experience with that already. And Thomas Comerford comes with an impressive resume from IBM. So these two gentlemen will help with that process over there.
Yeah, I was just confused to see that he just left the department, now he's coming back, so I don't know which was which.
They miss it.
They miss it.
Yeah.
They have the knowledge, and it's a tough system to run, and, you know, I'd like to thank them for stepping up to the plate, because
Yeah.
we need the guys with the experience over there, because it's a self-made system.
Yeah. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Let's see, I guess I'm up.
Yep.
Whereas Parkinson's disease is a progressive neurological movement disorder of the central nervous system, which has a unique impact on each patient. And whereas according to the Parkinson's Action Network, the Parkinson's Disease Foundation, the American Parkinson's Disease Association, and the National Institutes of Health, there are over 1 million Americans diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And whereas symptoms include slowness, tremor, difficulty with balance and speaking, rigidity, cognitive and memory problems. And whereas although some new medicines and therapies may enhance life for some time for people with Parkinson's, more work is needed for a cure. And whereas increased education and research are needed to help find more effective treatments with fewer side effects and ultimately a cure for Parkinson's disease. And whereas a multidisciplinary approach to Parkinson's disease care includes local wellness support and caregiver groups. And whereas April has been proclaimed as Worldwide Parkinson's Awareness Month for all to recognize the need for more research and help in dealing with the devastating effects of Parkinson's disease. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Town Board of Town Poughkeepsie proudly proclaims the month of April 2016 as Parkinson's Awareness Month, and encourages all municipal officials, citizens, and visitors to participate in the scheduled activities to learn more about Parkinson's disease. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Jay?
Resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby award the bids per the recommendation of Recreation Director Tom Myron, annexed for mowing of town parks and facilities, mowing of town buildings, and maintenance of Route 9 and Route 55 medians as follows. Mowing of town parks and facilities to DJM Distribution Supply, Inc. at the bid price of $63,000 per year for the years 2016 and 2017. Mowing of town buildings to DJM Distribution Supply, Inc. at the bid price of $7,000 per year for the years 2016 and 2017. Maintenance of Route 9 and 55 medians to Empire Landscaping and Snowplowing, Inc. at the bid price of $13,000 per year for the years 2016 and 2017. Be it further resolved, the supervisor is authorized to execute contract agreements with the above noted companies upon receipt of insurance certificates and security bonds. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Tom, you have anything you'd like to, I know Rec Department did reference checks on the companies, or on this company?
Yes, we've checked both of the two companies. DJM has worked for us in the past on some duties that we've asked them to do. And Empire maintains the medians in front of the El Rio Mall on Route 9, so they're very familiar with that operation. And everybody's very pleased with what they've done there, as well as on 84, the exit ramps and things on 84. So they're both well qualified, and I very much recommend both of them.
Both local companies?
Both very local companies.
Yeah.
And the prices have gone down every year we bid.
Right.
They get lower.
Yeah.
How many people did we have bid on the parks maintenance, parks and
I
buildings?
believe there were 8 that bid.
Yeah, it was a good number that bid this year, so.
Good.
And Tom and Brian always do a good job of managing, the contractors, so, hopefully they'll do well, but we'll have a close eye on them.
Tom, they do know to pick up the garbage and trash too, right, at the parks?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Anything else? Thanks, Tom.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie is hereby set the 16th day of March 2016 at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall, Town of Poughkeepsie, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, as and for the time, date, and place of a public hearing to amend the Town Code, Chapter 126, entitled Historic Preservation, specifically Section 1263. And be it further resolved that the proposed amendments are attached hereto and incorporated herein, and the town board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of said amendments, and does direct that said amendments be spread across the record as if they in fact had been read verbatim, with those words underlined to be added and the words stricken to be deleted. And be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie also does hereby determine that this action is a type 2 action involving the ongoing administration of the town, and it requires no environmental review. And be it further resolved that said local law, if adopted, shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be resolved, the town board, town of Poughkeepsie does hereby grant special consent to the following items to wit. 1, accept the retirement of Darlene DePerno from the Water Department. And 2, accept the retirement of James Wadowitz, our comptroller. And be it further resolved that upon the objection of any member of the town board, an item may be removed from the list and voted on separately. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Special consent, be resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie, special consent 1, apologize for that. Be resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept with regret the retirement of Darlene DePerno from the town of Poughkeepsie Water Department effective 11:59 p.m. on March 31st, 2016. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, just tell you it was a pleasure. Whenever you called up there, she was very hands-on, and it was like, you got a real professional touch, and I mean, she jumped right on board whatever you wanted, small, large. When Keith was out for a while, she was always there when you needed something.
I agree.
She's a very good employee.
I agree. We're going to miss her. All right, anything else? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be resolved that the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept with regret the retirement of James Wadowitz as the town of Poughkeepsie comptroller effective April 1st, 2016. So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Oh, Jim's gonna be missed. I mean, he's done a lot for this town and our budget, and I've seen him working like crazy on weekends when I've come in here. Between him and Nelson, I don't know who works longer and harder hours.
Wadowitz.
Always so helpful when it comes to working through the
Budget.
everything, for crying out loud. Can we all vote nay on it, and does that have to stay, or is
I'm
it
sure that will.
not work that way?
It was a pleasure all them years
Yeah.
working with Jim.
Yeah, Jim's done a good job for us, and we've got, there's big shoes to fill, and we'll miss him.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. That brings us to the end of our agenda. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for public comment on town issues. I'd like to note for the board, one of our new captains, Captain Faber, is in the audience tonight, so I want to welcome him. Thank him for coming. It's nice to have you here. So make a motion to suspend the rules for public comment on town issues.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone who would like to address the board? Seeing no one, I make a motion to reinstate the rules.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby adjourned to executive session to consider the following matters to wit: one, to discuss litigation strategy of the case known as New Hamburg Terminal. Two, confidential communications between an attorney and his client, the town board based on attorney-client privilege. Three, matters leading to the appointment, employment, dismissal, or removal of a person, firm, or corporation. Be it further resolved, there will be no action appropriating money. So moved.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Town Board adjourns to executive session at 7:32 PM.